How are your meatballs?
They're fit and pretty.
Why would you say?
How dare you? There's no meatball costume. There's no standalone meatball costume.
Oh, interesting.
There's spaghetti and meatballs, but that's not the vibe. There's also adult costumes.
Oh, let's say that.
Was also not the vibe.
Yeah.
So the vibe is apparently straight guy costume. This might be the straightest thing I will ever wear on the show.
I'm a meatball.
This is a lazy costume. This is the costume your boyfriend gets when you're like, oh my god, don't forget the Halloween party's coming up. And he's like, oh yeah, okay. And then he wears something like this. And you're like, would it hurt to just try a little bit? And then you break up.
Which I think more people should do.
Leave him.
Leave him. Who needs him?
Who needs him? How are you?
What was the laziest Halloween costume you've ever done? Was it the unicorn onesie that you wore to the Fantasy Boys finale?
Yeah, it was probably that one.
That year, I printed off a Costco poster
But that's
board.
still a onesie. That's still.
That's
I'm choosing to walk through through Chicago streets dressed as a unicorn.
Yeah,
There's still a commitment to that.
Right.
This is stupid.
I'm a meatball.
Yeah. Let's talk about the finale of Iland 2 Final Countdown.
We finally made it to the finale.
The debut. The number of girls. 6 girls are definitely chosen to debut.
6 girls debuted.
Definitely 6. Definitely 6 girls.
Definitely 6 girls debuted.
That
Absolutely.
I can guarantee.
Yeah.
There's no less than 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if you know this, RJ. This is going to be a girl group produced by Teddy. Are you aware of this?
At this point, it's ingrained in our minds. I really thought he was going to appear.
I'm kind of surprised he did it.
I thought they were going to save it to the end, but I'm sure they're just going to make like a.
They just
maybe
had
not
one clip of him.
Yes, and it's the same clip they used on the very first episode, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be some docu or some sort of behind the scene footage of like when the girls first meet Teddy.
Well, documentaries are payola now. That's what payola is. That's what, as we all know, if you're on Twitter, documentaries are payola.
This was our second survival show that we reacted to on our Patreon.
Yes.
The first one was And Audition.
The first one was And Audition, which I would say is a worse finale than this, for sure. Not because of the lineup, but simply because it is so.
It is like 3 hours long, I think. 2, 3 hours long.
I think it's 3 as well. I mean, this was 3:15, but
3.
This cut to different things.
Yes, there were multiple things.
Yeah.
And Audition finale
also
was
had a special guest that was unwarranted.
Yeah, no one wanted. It was hard to look like engaged for 3 hours on a reaction, especially in a survival show finale, because
especially on Viki where you cannot change.
You cannot fast forward.
No playback speed.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people talking. Because I think for End Audition we sped up the the speeches at the end. It's mostly just the because it's live, so they have a lot of buffer.
Yes. In the
while
live,
they tabulate.
the tension is really built. Watching it on replay, you're like, oh my God, just get to it. Maybe when they release it on whatever, they just trim out.
They should
just do that.
They should.
So they do the final love song, another performance of the final love song with all 24 girls, which is very nice.
OT24.
OT24. Then Sung Han Bin, who's our second half storyteller, plus Jun So-mi, who's the special storyteller for the episode, are hosting. They look great. They're both blonde.
Blonde Ambition.
And they explain that 5 people are going to debut by iMate vote.
Yep.
And 1 person is going to debut from producer pick.
Yes.
So there are 6 girls total. Here are the 2 songs that they're going to do.
Their final test.
It's called the Produced by Teddy test.
Because Teddy was in there.
Because Teddy, I think, is the producer. He's going to be the producer.
He's going to be a producer of this. This is a girl group that is produced by Teddy, which came to a surprise as a surprise for me.
I feel like they didn't mention it ever.
And kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah. I mean, that's
it was like brand new
I feel like they
information.
should have maybe
I feel
said
like
it
they
before
should
the
have been
finale.
saying that.
They should have been promoting that. They never said it once. They barely said it here.
Yeah.
Crazy. The two songs are called Drip and Fake It. Drip is
Like a dance bapiola.
a dance bapiola.
She's a club
Girl
song.
She's a club girl.
She's a club kid.
Fake It is
A little bit more emotional, kind of in the Lovesick Girls type of place.
Sure.
Where it's like, yeah, like more evocative.
Yeah.
But it's more of like a song. Singing.
Yes.
More singing is
melodic.
Involved. Yes.
So here are the parts.
Teddy.
Pricked by Teddy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the true produced by Teddy experience.
Yep. So for Drip, Jimin is the center, Jiyoon is main vocal, Coco is main rapper, and then Yuju's part 4 and Gyuri's part 5.
Mm-hmm.
So then for Fake It, Sabi is center, Chongun is main vocal, Sarang is main rapper, huge. Fuko is part 4 and Mai is part 5.
Yeah. Drip is like, we're having fun, we're having a good time, but it's not like a bright aesthetic because like the song is very much like, no, Drip.
Oh, Drip.
Because the song is very much like, it's got like a hip hop sample, so it's like a beat. Beats by Dre. Beats.
Yes. The background is colorful.
Yes.
The clothing is not.
Clothing is not.
Sure.
And then Fake It is, more of your feels like a Avril Lavigne complicated.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Are we doing straights?
Feels like a complicated Avril Lavigne. Kind of like the emotional title track.
Yeah.
Which
do you prefer?
Performance-wise, like watching something on stage, I prefer the performance of Fake It because it was more interesting. Not to say that Drip wasn't interesting because it had harder choreo.
Yeah.
But Fake It had like a point of view of like they're kind of, it's like a torch song. They're like singing on a microphone or like they're giving the illusion that they're singing on a microphone stand. Yeah. There's choreo that's involved in the microphone stand. So it feels more like performance-y, like live show concert. But Drip is the song that I would listen to.
Drip, I think, is a better song, but I enjoyed the Fake It performance more.
Totally. And the choreo was, I mean, it's like tough. Like that was their biggest challenge. Was
for
like
sure.
They couldn't keep up with the choreo of Drip at all.
It's fast. It's a lot.
Jiyoon almost dipped into part 1. Jiyoon.
I loved.
She was self-sabotaging.
She said, I'm still here.
She literally was like, there is this drama. I mean, you cannot write this. They're practicing the like dance when they're on the floor. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And Jiyoon is in the back and she doesn't go on the floor. And they're all just staring at the mirror. And then they slowly turn around to see what's wrong. And she just has a sunken face and she just goes,
she's completely defeated.
yes, because she can't keep up with the dancing. And she literally is like, I'm going to remove myself because I'm slow. I feel like
she removed herself from the narrative.
Yes, I'm slowing you guys down and I don't even know the lyrics to the song yet. So I need to go.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of concerned, obviously. And like before she leaves, she kind of has this little outburst that's like, it feels like no one checked in on me. That if I'm like catching up at all, because I cannot catch up with you guys at all.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting that she voiced that opinion, right? That she said like, you're not taking care of me. Because I feel like what we usually see is like, I can't keep up. It's my fault. I'm a terrible dancer. I don't deserve to be an idol. You know, that. And which I think is there, obviously, because she's frustrated. She of all people knows that
she's very hard on herself.
Yes.
Yes.
But also the feeling of like, you guys are moving at such a quick pace and it feels like I'm not even being
she's
considered.
she's in a group. I guess Beauty is the only other one that's like doesn't maybe pick up choreography as fast, but like she's doing fine.
Yes.
The other three are like dancers.
Yeah. And she runs to the bathroom to cry in the shower. And and they go after, like, Fuko goes, Jimin goes to her.
Mm-hmm.
And like they all apologize to one another, which is like the sweet, like it was so sweet.
It's very nice.
Because obviously Jian apologizes for leaving, but then everyone is apologizing that they didn't kind of take her into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet. And then once they do slow down, she catches up.
Yeah.
And I always think that's just, you want to like get the choreography, because that is the hard, you gotta get to muscle memory. So I understand when the girls like have to get the choreography down first, or just like in any survival show. But yeah, if that's not your strength. And I think Jiyoon, out of everyone in Iland, she is the one that's like, I'm not a quick learner like everyone.
Yeah.
She's definitely like,
she's a vocalist forward.
Yeah. Kim Tae.
A Kim Tae energy for sure. Yeah. She knows what her strong suit is. And when she gets there, she's not bad.
Yeah, no, she like blends in.
It is not a natural thing.
Right.
But it's like there are also the dancers who are like, the vocals don't come as naturally. They sound a little more forced, blah, blah, blah. I agree. I really liked her. I liked that it was a little narrative. I thought it was very nice.
Yeah, because I didn't think we were going to get any leading up to the finale. That it was just like,
yeah, I didn't know.
You learn it and you go.
Yeah.
I really liked Jimin in Drip. I thought she was.
Oh, do you want to talk about the performance?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was my favorite in Drip.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this was the first time that I ever saw her enjoy performing on stage.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy to watch. I was like, well,
what I thought was interesting about the song is that I didn't think initially they were going to be able to smile during it.
Yeah.
But they like still were able to kind of have like, it's not a bright song, but they were allowed to like be a little more like.
It reminds me of when New Jeans performs Attention, like that first video when they're kind of just like smiling and laughing, and then like, let's dance.
Yeah.
Let's dance. That's the energy.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Coco was the best.
Oh, in Drip. Yeah,
Drip.
I mean,
because that's my twins, Coco and Sabi.
Who birthed them?
I birthed them.
With Fake It, what did you think of Fake It?
So Fake It, well, their storyline was like Fuko is struggling. She's not getting anything she wanted. She wanted the other song. She wanted main vocal. Yeah. She just nothing's going her way. She has English lines that she was like worried about. I actually thought her English lines,
I thought it was good.
They sounded fine.
And then Vivienne and 24 were like, let's actually pick someone else to do it.
So they swapped one part with Jungin.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Which I think, at the end of, I think it made sense because then Fuko was able to like be more confident in the vocal.
Yeah.
But they're just parts. I don't know. I mean, it feels like you have to cling on to the smallest thing when you're this desperate.
I'm always curious how many votes are actually swayed by the final performance?
You ask this every finale.
And I've never gotten an answer. I feel like most people head in and they know who their one pick is, and then they just go with that.
Here's my thing. I don't think there's like backup. I just know like the cultural consensus. Park Ganuk performed Jelly Pop.
Yeah.
And I think everyone saw him in a new light of like, oh crap.
Well, but that's the thing is, that's what I always wonder too, is because Fake It goes first.
Right.
So they have more time to get more votes in than the Drip team does. There's no way to make it equal.
Right.
There's always going to be one who has more time simply by...
Someone has to go first.
Unless they performed both songs at the exact same time and you couldn't really hear any of it.
VR.
Yeah.
Tomorrow by Together VR.
I thought Drip kind of maintains the same level throughout. Yes. There's no hills and valleys, where I think Fake It does have a little bit more. Is a performance in that. Right. Yeah. So I liked that.
Yeah.
I thought anything Sabi does, I can't. There's a way she performs that you cannot train. Mm-hmm. She just is like so lit. She looks like she's so in it that it's just like she's having these She looks like she's performing choreography, like she's coming up with it in real time.
Yes, yeah.
It is it's
musical theater.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm dancing because I'm propelled to do it in this performance.
The classical musical theater.
It's really
thing
musical
of like,
theater why you love Savvy so much. It's the expressions. It's like, consider yourself.
Well, I did say she was my daughter, and I did put her through theater camp.
Rigorous theater camp.
For sure.
Yes. I loved there was a moment when it was like
Mai's face.
And then I literally gasped because I was like, it was like a remember, this is why you love her.
Mai is she is not just visual, right? Like, I feel like that gets harped on so much. We've talked about it. The show has made a point of being like, she looks like that, and she does look like that. So like, obviously, but she's also like got everything else to back it up with. That I'm like, why
isn't she like
why isn't she connecting? Yeah. And I think partly is like, I think she's an I, so she's having a little bit harder time like coming out of her shell.
She is. I mean, we said it like, it's once you debut, you're out of this environment, and so you can just like see your true personality, like Kim Gi-vin.
Yeah.
And I think we said Jimin, we said Jungin, and I think Mai.
Kim Gi-vin, I think, was always doing his personality. They just didn't.
They just never showed it. Yeah,
because they were worried that people like.
Well,
he's too goofy.
Well, that, or they're just like, well, he's already your standard. Your beauty standard, so just show him that. Like, he's already tall,
he's already got the narrative of,
and he's a great dancer already, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Here's my problem with the two songs, both of them, and why I still think that the best song on the show is "I Will Always Love You."
Iwali, yeah,
which is not
a Teddy song. It was produced by our diva, our sister Vivienne, who is cousins with a member of Girls' Generation.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
they used to model together.
Oh, I mean, she's really cute.
She's gorgeous.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
There is no final chorus explosion that I want for the finale song on a survival show.
Yes.
And I think especially for these like live ones, the live performance episodes, I want like a huge thing to cap the performance with. And there's not like a new instrument that's added in the third chorus. Like, it just, the backing, or the like production itself, like, doesn't change in any way throughout the entire song. Like, it kind of just maintains. But then the visual production has to like make it bigger somehow. So they just start setting off pyro in the middle of the song. And I was like, but the song hasn't changed
the song
to make that make sense.
Yes, the music needs to justify it.
That was that was bothering me about both songs.
Which is interesting because
it bothered me more with Drip, but
Teddy's girl group songs have like a shift in bridge, like famously.
Yes.
Like, so many songs all of a sudden go into a bridge and then it finishes, but that's completely, like, almost like different from the rest of the song.
Can we talk about Ice Cream?
My sister. You know, the girls are cute, shaking their little, shimmying for the challenges.
Choreo's fun.
It's no fast forward. Sorry.
That's my big problem with these two songs. Was I was just like, oh, just a little bit something on the end there. Just
something.
A nice little finish.
Yeah, it's the finale. Come on.
It's the last songs I'm gonna hear.
Yes. It's supposed to show it's the concept. It's the proof of concept for what I'm about to get into.
Speaking of Iwali, they do another all 10 of them perform Iwali together. Were you surprised that they didn't do a ballad?
I think because Iwali is already emotional in that way. But yeah, I am surprised. But yeah, because Queendom Puzzle had a ballad. Yeah.
So
would have been nice.
Other things that happen while they're tabulating the votes. They heard my complaint, and we get the lunch boxes.
Finally, and the letters from
home. We don't get to get all of them, which I'm just like, just show us all 10 of them reading a portion of it. I don't have to hear the whole thing.
Do less of Hanbin being like, all right, as we get ready for the votes, what do you think? Like, just show the
Just show. I don't need to hear what Jung Hao thinks. I'm sorry. I love him. I don't care. Yujin, great.
Yeah.
Glad you're here. They also do this moment where they have the producer awards. The girls
Yes.
like in Highland, they just like signed a poster and gave it to everybody. But here,
Boys Planet, they made like a big cake, remember?
yes,
And they threw a
here they've
party.
like given awards to each producer,
Yes,
which
it's
was very
very
nice.
Yes.
24 was the cutie.
Yes, like secret cutie or whatever.
Monica was the mom.
Uh-huh.
Does Monica have kids? Okay. I was like, I wonder if she would be like annoyed that they gave her that.
Because she said, she made a joke that was like, she's made a joke in the show that's like, you guys make me want to go out and have kids.
Yeah,
Because, like, I'm
I think
so
she
proud
says
of
it in
you.
the finale.
Yeah.
And then the final thing is they do get little bound books of letters from iMates.
Yes.
Which is, first of all,
best.
Ji-yoon gets this drawing.
I know, that's like,
It looks incredible. I'm just not a visual artist, and anytime I see it, I'm so impressed. I'm so jealous. I wish I could do that.
Arborays, come on.
I know. It was amazing. But I love that they get those because that's who's supporting
That's who it's
you.
for.
Yeah.
What was I made for?
Like
I made.
getting the letters from home is really nice because
Right, it's reassuring.
yeah. They're so sequestered, especially in Iland where it's like, even though yes, they get a chance to like perform in the second half like weekly for people, which is good, especially from all around the world. Like the letters being just like from just completely different countries, like that's so cool to like know you have that reach when you haven't even debuted yet. I think that's so cool.
I remembered from in Highland when Daniel got like Daniel Oppa and he was like, oh.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, I mean, Victor from Boys Planet, who was like, my favorite is not Camden. And now he made TikToks with him. So
I could literally never. There's no way. There's not a soul that I could ask to make a TikTok with me. I would fold. I would crumble.
not a tiramisu cake, not a super lady with tere.
No. And honestly, the wildest part about that is it's kind of flirty.
Oh, with
With
Camden
Camden.
and Victor? Yeah.
It's because
Because that's the bit. Yeah.
that's the bit.
Yeah.
But like they've leaned into the bit.
Yeah.
FNC
Fish and cakes.
Fish and Cakes leaned into that gay bit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
He called him his husband. I can't. It's wild. I love Camden. Not as much as Victor.
So there's Victor.
I literally, when you said Victor, I was like, your friend? I was like, actually, first I was like, there was a contestant named Victor on Boys Planet. Here we go. You ready?
Let's announce the 5.
Let's announce the 6 winners.
Yeah. Because there are 6 winners.
There are 6. There are.
There are 6 winners.
There are 6 winners. Yeah. Okay. First is number 4, and we get Coco. This is right off the bat. Half of my stress.
How did you feel? Immediate relief?
I was not surprised. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, I didn't say this. The only one I knew for sure was Jongin. Because I had, at KCON earlier this year, I had like looked across the floor and there was like a big screen and they would keep cutting to like different singular members in like a full headshot.
And you saw that bang.
And I just happened to see the bang.
Yeah.
I realized later, I guess I may have seen Coco since she also had the bang, but I'm pretty sure it was Jongin. So, and it would make sense now that we know she's PO1 that it was Jongin. So I definitely knew Jongin was in the group. But again, not a huge shock.
Not a surprise.
I didn't feel like Jongin was one that it was going to be like, oh, she's not going to make it. They don't really have a K narrative this year. Do you think Fuko is K?
It's the closest one.
It's definitely the closest one, but it's not like the whole show led to her being like, she wasn't like, K I think got so many compliments of being like, you're so good, like you're so blah, 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 blah,
But
blah.
Kay also had a constant narrative of like what it means to be a leader.
Fuko did not have a
Fuko did not. She basically was a leader for ground because they needed it.
Yep.
And she's shown that she's very maternal. She's a great teacher. She's like, I've already gone through this.
Yeah.
Yes. I've already gone through this. I don't want to see Nana or the other Japanese girls to go through what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
But then once she got into part 2, it's like now it's you. You have to focus on you and fight for what you want and like make a mark on your end. And she just was constantly outshined, I think.
I know.
From Twitter, I had picked up, and TikTok, I had consolidated and picked up the 6 members. So the only one that I didn't know.
What do you mean? There's 6 members, RJ.
Well, actually, I knew.
As I go through them, you can just say yes or no.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the one that I didn't know once we get to it.
Okay. Well, you knew all of them because you said you knew 6. What do you mean? Whatever do you mean, RJ? Okay, so Coco, thrilled. It's very reminiscent of when I was like 1 pick for Jiyoung. Mm-hmm. He was the first one announced. Then in Jiyoung's situation, I just got to like sit back and relax after that. And because anybody else was,
you got to sit back and relax for the rest of the show.
In Boys Planet?
No, here.
No, that's what I'm saying. In Jiyoung's situation, I was like, great. In this one, I was like, okay, I have one more. I had one more 1 pick. So I had a 2 pick. Okay, they both had to get in.
You picked 2.
It was a 1+1.
Yeah, it's 1+1.
Yeah. Jiyoung is PO3. Again,
not surprised. We already saw it happen last.
Also, I don't even think these placements aren't surprising.
No,
this isn't like in Highland where I was like, whoa, like people are moving all around. Yeah.
No, 1, 2, 3 was
Jiyoung. Thrilled for Jiyoung. We've got a vocalist. We've got potentially a leader.
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
No one. I don't think there's been any person on a survival show yet where I think they've had a better growth narrative than her.
Totally.
The way she did part 1 was a mess in a very entertaining way, but was a mess. I think she would even say.
But
then went back and watched it at home and was like, "Oh, I was a mess." To
actually reflect and show in part 2 that I'm more than just that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still gagged that when she was like,
she didn't come back and she was a fake person.
Yes, she was like,
she still felt like herself, but she was like, "Oh, these are the things I actually have to work on." It was great. I mean,
I was really shocked because I really was ready after part 1 to be like, "Oh, she's just a girl that just wants to sing. She doesn't want to do the other work. All she wants to do is sing."
Yeah.
But no, she's like, "Nope." So very, very proud of her.
Yeah, for sure. Number 2, PO2 is Jimin. This was surprising. Mm-hmm. PO2, not far. Yeah. The gap between PO1 and PO2 is crazy.
I know. I can't think of what it could be.
It has to be everyone thought that they were going to pick.
Everyone thought that she was going to be
PO1, so people moved to other people.
500,000 votes?
She had 500,000, and PO1 gets 800,000.
300,000.
It's a 300,000 difference. Yeah,
300,000 because votes are not equal to numerical.
Right. It's not 1-to-1. That's still crazy.
That's still a lot. 300,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no Sunghan Bin Zhanghao like 1 million or whatever, but still that's still a lot. Especially
because I would say, okay, so PO1 is Jongin.
Yeah.
I was surprised Jongin gets PO1 because
they weren't nailing her story.
She had a narrative for the first 2 episodes. Uh-huh. Then her narrative switched to she was in competition with Jiyoung.
Yep.
It was really kind of just Jiyoung's narrative, really. But she was tangential to it. Mm-hmm. Part 2, nothing. She was there. She did her work. She put in the performances. She did great.
They had their vocal. They finally settled the Jiyoung.
But again, that was more. It felt more like it was like, oh, and then now Jiyoung's story has wrapped up. More than it felt like Jongin was carrying this weight around with her, right? Like they alluded in that episode to that time where she cried with Fuko and it was like, Jiyoung's not listening to me. But they hadn't built that. They hadn't built that through the previous episodes. They were just like, oh, by the way, Jongin was also feeling
She's
sad
been going
about this.
through it. Yeah.
Right. So it's, I mean,
unlike
it's very
Jimin,
weird.
who has been like, if we were just basing it on TV time alone,
It's Jimin.
she was the main character
Right.
of the show.
Correct. She was, yes.
Yeah.
Somebody said that, I saw somebody say that when she was on Are You Next, is when the auditions, like the applications opened for
Iland 2.
Iland 2. Which is, I mean, she had no transition period.
Yeah.
She went boop, boop, straight into it. And now she's going to go straight into debut. Like, and she's like 2,000 days of being a trainee.
Yeah.
Which is like 6 years. Thrilled for Jimin.
Yeah.
Was she my pick? Maybe not. But I am sure, I have no doubt that we are going to be in another situation where afterward, I'm going to be like,
She's
there
fine.
it is.
Yeah.
It was all the things that they didn't show me that I needed to see, but like
Right.
she had it. They just were like hiding it.
Not that I wasn't compelled by Jimin's storyline throughout the show. It did just feel like it just went up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. There were no peaks and valleys like Jiyoon, where I
Right.
felt like that story was way more interesting because we were able to see like a rise and a downfall, and then like the rise again, like the testing, as opposed to Jimin, where it was just like always but not close enough kind of feeling. But I never felt once that she wasn't going to be in the final.
Oh, I had, ever since that first vote where she was like number one, I was like, oh, she's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
She's gonna make it in the group. Tongan, thrilled, as we said in the beginning.
First episode, we were like, this girl.
Yeah. What was it for you? Because like if we were still in the first episode, I would have said I was on the Jonghyun train.
Totally.
By the time now, I was riding two trains. They were like two trains next to each other, and I had one leg on both sides. And I was riding both of them. But neither of them were the Jonghyun train.
Yeah.
Not that I was not interested in Jonghyun in the group. I think she would obviously be very beneficial to have in a group.
Yep.
With the amount of training and I think she's really versatile too. Is there a reason that you stopped being like all in on Jonghyun and maybe seeing other people?
I think just
narrative wise.
Other people just had more compelling stories.
Yeah.
I mean, like even that my storyline from the creative unit.
Yeah.
Was like, oh, I'm all in on my.
Actually, okay. The only other storyline I'm remembering now is the one when Sevi was the leader and
Jonghyun was like, actually, let's do this. Like she was,
but
kinda,
it's
and then
never
rolled her eyes
addressed or fixed.
No, because it really wasn't anything to carry into. It was just
Right.
like, see how Sebi is struggling.
Yeah, it wasn't and it's
Jonghyun thinks
weird.
she's better than everyone.
Right.
Kind of like a little bit of what Sujong had. Right?
Yes.
Like she was dipping in that territory of the storyline where it's like, oh, she the hubris.
Yes.
Jonghyun never felt that. She honestly, she started as if we were like, oh, it doesn't feel like she's 16. And then throughout the show, I was like, oh, you are 16. Like she got in her head way more than I thought she was gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I still felt like she still was able to put everything aside because there is not a singular performance on that show where you can say she did a bad job.
Totally.
There were
even in the
times-
ones where she like cracked, right? Like Panorama.
Right, or like wasn't, there were other members I was maybe
That
more
shone
like,
better.
yes, I still think she was like constantly putting in good effort.
Yeah.
And great work.
I
Number
am
5.
I am excited for her in Isna.
Oh yeah, the group's called Isna, sorry.
So in Isna, I am excited to see
Because
her. Nabitna
not
Nasuri.
N-A, Nasuri is Isna. We know. Yeah.
So
I
I'm
like
excited.
the font of the logo. I love a tall
Tall
a
girl.
condensed.
Yeah.
A skinny little girl. Number 5.
So the
This
last
is the final vote pack. Is between Sabi and Sarang.
And I said, if it's Sarang, then they will obviously have to pick Sabi.
It's Sarang.
It's Sarang. This was the one that I didn't know.
This is the one you didn't know.
Yeah.
Of the 6.
Of the group.
Great.
That I was like, oh, I did not. I actually was really shocked that she made it.
I think Sarang in part 2 had like the perfect, like, she came off part 1 really strong.
Yeah.
She like floundered in part 2, but like every challenge was progressively
better
like
and better.
hitting and hitting
Totally.
and hitting. I think especially during Fake It, she's really good.
Totally.
Last week when they did the Girls' Generation song, an immaculate performance from Sarang. I think she's totally winsome. I think she feels so accessible. We've talked about it that like she feels like a girl next door, even though obviously she's so pretty, she's so beauty standard. Somebody said in our comments that like she's kind of like the Chinese beauty standard. Maya's Japanese, and Jimin is obviously the Korean beauty standard. So it's interesting to see like the three of them and how they look kind of different.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's like a sweetness that Sarang has that like feels like, oh, I want to like be her friend. Like we would hang out at school together. Yeah. I'm really happy for Sarang.
Me too.
Because I think she's really talented. And so Sabi goes back. This is at the point where I am. I'm pleading with God. I am making bargains. We're putting in bets. We're manifesting. We're putting circles on the ground. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the producer they're going to pick one person. And they first announce that they're going to say the 3 people they're choosing between. So 2 of them are immediately cut. The 3 people they're choosing between are Sabi, Fuko, and Mai. So that means Yuju and Gyuri are cut.
Are cut.
They both seem like they handled that pretty well.
I think they expected. I mean, they knew they were 10th and 9th leading into the votes.
I think Gyuri knows because her thing was she just started training half a year ago.
Yeah.
So I think, and she's so young.
She's so young.
She has plenty of time.
Yeah.
So much time.
And she's already shown that she is more than capable to do it.
Agree. And then I think Yuju just kind of saw the writing on the wall. Maybe even like a couple episodes ago,
I think so.
to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think she thought she was going to even get to the finals.
Yeah.
Because she was that last one picked. So, Sabi, Fuko, or Mai, the drum roll, I'm screaming Sabi, and they pick Mai. I burst into tears.
You wail.
Yeah.
While watching Mai's like thank you speech, you start
It was very weird because I was so happy for Mai because I think she's totally deserving.
I think she like has proven more than enough that she deserves to debut.
agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
But also I was tearing up thinking about
you were fully heartbroken.
You know what the last time I cried that much was when
Not our wedding.
was when Haruto got cut. In that last
into the finals.
Yeah. I was wailing. I was so upset.
It's so funny. There are people that will sometimes ask, like, sorry, where's the Boys Planet reactions? I can't find it on the Patreon.
I'm glad they don't exist.
I'm glad they don't exist because they were... Oof. They were tough.
They were tough. They were tough.
They were at 5 a.m., first of all.
Well, that was the toughest part.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Mai gets picked.
So happy for Mai.
So happy
Truly,
for Mai.
like, I coming into the finale,
underrated. Like she feels underrated.
She feels underrated, even though every time she's the only time has not done well, in my opinion, was probably what was the one right before? Was the Money Lisa? But that was just a weird performance.
Yeah, I just didn't like.
I just didn't like that performance.
Yeah. I still think she does a good job.
Yeah.
They gave her like a weird critique that I didn't agree with. I still thought she did well in that song.
I'm not the nasal voice critique.
What does that mean? Let's say this. That came out of nowhere in part 2.
Totally.
Out of nowhere.
All
That
of a
had
sudden-
never been a thing on Iland 2. And then in part 2, all of a sudden they were like, well, we keep telling you about this nasal tone. And
Your
we're like,
disgusting nasal tone in your singing. Who the fuck said that?
when? And maybe they did.
And maybe they did. This
like-
is the first time showing it. But like,
Girlies.
there are perfectly successful pop singers that sing nasal all the time. And
And I'll
especially...
name them. Britney Spears.
Adam. No, you're not nasal.
Britney.
What do you mean? Mr. Sheffield.
Mr. Sheffield.
Yeah, like Fran Drescher.
One of the greatest vocalists of our generation. Right up there with Celine Dion.
But in a girl group of at least 6 members, at least 6 voices,
I'm sorry.
that'll blend. Also, it's pop.
It's pop vocals, guys. What are we even talking about?
It's pop vocals.
We're not singing opera, girl. Let's all be serious for a second. They're all nasal. They all sound nasal. Could you imagine being like, hey, Chan, you're a little too nasal? Could you imagine? Imagine if I said that. How quick would this channel be flagged and taken down? Because the end citizens rightfully come after me.
Uh-huh.
And I also don't think she sounds super nasal.
And it doesn't sound bad.
It is not a nasal that it when I hear it, I'm like, ooh, that's pretty nasal. I have never had that reaction. And I do have that reaction for some people who are super nasal singers.
And name them.
Hey, Chan. So I just thought it was such a weird critique that it was like, I guess this is just what they're going to focus on for part 2. I was truly convinced she was not going to make this group.
I know.
Because she had no narrative in part 2.
Nothing.
She had
They
nothing
silenced
to do.
her.
They silenced her.
The only time we saw anything from her was to show that she was like struggling a little bit in the nasal singing.
The nasal singing and there was another one, wasn't there? Oh no, was that Coco? I'm thinking of Coco when she struggled with the like leading or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had nothing. I mean, my head.
Oh, I mean, and like her not being during the dance unit where they were
with Sujung.
Yes, but she. Oh yeah, but then she didn't get the narrative of like you danced too. You're too focused on being pretty.
Right. No.
So it was weird. It was just so weird that they gave us nothing, but we always knew her as like, well, she will nail a small part.
She's going to nail whenever the camera cuts to her. You're going to be like, oh, she's eating.
Yeah. Taeyang is like, okay, this is why. And they like say for her specifically, like, we need something we need something to
It's about her visuals again.
Yeah.
Which, yes, but also she truly has it. She has it.
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that like, oh, Mai's only in the group because she looks like that.
No.
Because
we've seen her dance and sing.
So much more.
Also, she could be leader too. Genuinely, I think she could be leader as well.
She's the oldest.
Yeah. She's led
I just put on all their birthdays.
She's led a dance troupe of like 30, 40 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. She's got it.
5 other girls, nothing.
She's great. And she's such a... She never cracked under the pressure.
Yeah.
Like, she was like totally like strong. She's great.
Yeah.
This is why it was very frustrating because I was crying for Sabi, but like thrilled for Mai. Totally deserving.
Yeah. And that's it. And that's it.
And
now.
thank you
So
so
we're
much
so excited.
for
Thank
watching.
you so much for watching.
No, wait. Rule?
Wait, Rule? I have another lipstick.
Let's talk about rigor mortis.
Okay, so you think this was you think this was rigor mortis? They always were gonna do this. They always were gonna do 7, or do you think when they got to the 5 and they said it's time to pick, they realized Sabi was not voted, and that's when they decided just add one more. Taeyang called up Teddy real quick under the desk and was like,
I don't think any decisions that are this massive happen minute of. That deal with contracts and negotiations and allocated funds and this, that, and the other, and an already like, this is what we're going to do with this group. I think here's what I genuinely think. Iland one set the precedent that it was
7.
it was one person was a producer pick, and the others were all voted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that they felt that didn't work, but I think they wanted insurance. I think they wanted to ensure that they got 2 picks. But because they've already established that the show does 1 pick versus everybody else is voted.
They as in Teddy, Black Label?
They as in they. The royal they.
Uh-huh. But who?
They, them.
But who?
The genderless they.
Who? The judges?
Them.
The
Mnet.
For the show.
CJ. Yeah, for the show.
For the show.
For the show.
Not for the group.
Right.
They wanted insurance
because it's a combination of both.
Right.
The show and the So I think Mnet was like, you're gonna want to have just in case.
Get a second one.
Just in case. Your top 5, they're gonna be your top 5. That's probably who you're gonna want to put in the group anyway. Once you get down to those lower numbers,
pick 1, maybe 2.
So I think it was always going to be there were 2 producer picks, but they thought it would look too rigorous if they were like, and there's 2 producer picks. So they were like, well, let's come up with the idea.
Yeah, that's the conspiracy trying to cough its way out of your body.
So they came up with the idea of being like, well, we'll just say it's 6, it's 5 and 1, and then you'll have a second pick. I could also see that they were like, you have an optional 7th pick if you need it.
If you think that it needs it.
It could be 6, and 6 could be fine. But if you need a 7th, you have the option. I could believe that too. I don't think it was ever going to be 8. Ever.
I don't think so. Here's my personal opinion. I think 7 works better in a K-pop group anyway.
I think
odd numbers always work better because of the positioning.
Yes.
And like just like having a center and just the psychology of having a center in dance formations.
Correct.
It works better in an odd number.
Correct.
If Sabi,
except for 4. 4 is good, but it's because it's 4.
If Sabi was voted in and not Sarang, do you think they would have still used the extra pass?
I don't know.
I really think it was for Sabi.
But then they would have picked Sabi. I also think it's very interesting that they picked Mai because Sabi was the other person who was up for. It was Sabi and Sarang were the next 2 for votes.
Yeah.
So I think they didn't. There's also a level of like, I don't think they wanted to pick Sabi because it'd be like, oh, well, then it was just the next person. There's something weird about that too.
Yes, but I could see them getting to the final pick.
Because I think Mai is, again, great. But I don't think there's anything that they saw necessarily that day that's like super out of the ordinary that Mai did out of.
But here's what I think.
Because they were like, oh, your vocals sounded great today. And I was like, she had a line. And she sounded great, but she had a line. Please be serious.
I think the producers, those 5, led by Taeyang, were like, we want Sabi, and if we had to pick another one, we want Mai. And then the writers of the show, because they always have writers. Right? And they're like, right. Ting. And they're like live updating the fucking teleprompters and the cards that Somi and Hanbin are reading. Like, I think they were like, okay, let's announce it this. Like, they hear that feedback that like, we want Sabi and we want Mai. Like, I think the producers were like, I want to. And then the writers were like, okay, we're gonna do Mai first, and then later when Somi
so this
asks,
all happens while Mai is doing her thank you speech.
I think so. I think it's during that deliberation when they were quote unquote deliberating. But I agree.
If it is based on the 5, then I can see 2 voted for Sabi, 2 voted for Mai, and 1 voted for Fuko. And so they're like, well, those are the 2 winners.
But I also see that they knew that they were like, you can have up to 2. It's possible that they could be 2.
Yeah.
If you really feel like there's 2.
I think it's a bigger conspiracy.
And
I think they went into it knowing that's going to be 7. That's what I think.
I know in previous survival shows, like I know the one that produced twice. Like at the end, JYP was like, and I want Momo. Like I know, but that's JYP for JYP.
Yeah.
You know? So he's like, we'll just clean that up in legal and contracts later.
Right.
That's not the point of it right now. But I think it's really more spurred on that.
If Teddy had been there, then I would believe that it was like Teddy was like, why have to have Sabi? He picked Sabi for center.
But I mean, allegedly. I'm curious because the way they acted, the way they talked about the Black Label, so me being like, welcome to the Black Label, honey. Like,
yes.
I do think that maybe not Taeyang, but like VVN and 24 for sure. Like we're producing for them. Like will be producers for this group.
Yeah. I hope it's just VVN.
What about Miss 24? You don't want Miss 24 working in there?
What did were there any songs that were 24?
I think he was always like a co-producer, yeah.
I want a full album of Iwalis. I'm gonna be completely honest. If they give us an album
with a bunch of Iwalis,
yeah. I don't want to do.
That's AOTY, honey.
Yeah. That's Grammys. That's giving.
I mean, she could do it. I mean, Blackpink is the one that
Didn't say that.
And by she, I do mean Teddy. Teddy could do it. But
so Sabi gets picked.
Taeyang pulls out another lipstick.
Yeah.
And it has Jung Sabi on it.
Before we talk about Sabi, before I cry about Sabi, should we address the Fuko of it all? I actually, it got to a point where I was uncomfortable because I was like, I want her to be handling this in private.
Control it, and
I don't blame her. I feel it would have felt like a setup. In my head, that's what it would have felt like.
Do you know what I mean? They bring her to they call her up from Japan. We're gonna do the show called Girls Planet, where we have group J, C, and K. Mm-hmm. You are gonna be one of the 33 J groups. Mm-hmm. Me being Wake One, the company that will one day manage the winner. If I was Fuko, I'd be like, wow, this is it. This is the ticket.
Right.
I don't make it. But
she was, again, that was 3 years ago. She was 16.
Yeah. No Korean.
Barely any Korean.
Barely any.
Yeah.
They keep her. They keep her in Wake
as a trainee. Yeah.
As a trainee. Because I'm sure she too was like, yes, I needed more time.
And she's incredibly talented. Yes. She has all of it. She is a star on stage.
She works on it. She says it in her ending that she waited for 2 years for another opportunity. And it was the show. And if you were reading that, seeing all that's in the docket, you're like, oh, okay. She thinks she's the G-Min. She's like, I'm getting the storyline that like I've worked so hard to now finally debut in a group. I've come in 6th, like in the previous one ever. Mm-hmm. I've been safe. I haven't been told anything that I'm not. I'm lacking in anything.
Right.
And then you still don't make it. And I could tell like Yuri wanted to like comfort her because she was truly like wailing.
It was hard to watch. And I don't put any of that on her. No. I just wanted them to like escort her off the stage so she could have that moment privately. Yeah. Even like take her mom back there. Just like I just felt she is so great, and it was suck to see.
And I think that's the hardest part about the Iland format, because you do have just a small amount of group, like a small group.
Well, it's especially hard. It's especially hard when you end with a producer pick, because then you're like, I couldn't even impress.
I couldn't even impress the 5 people that have seen me
the
for
whole show.
like 4 months.
Right. It's one thing to be like, I didn't get enough global votes.
Yeah.
Right. Then you can be like, well, blah, blah, blah. You can explain it in 100 different ways. Right.
Yeah.
When you go back and you think, why didn't Park Han-bin make
Right.
Boys Planet? What
Even
are the myriad of things that are whatever?
Even though Hanbin probably felt like he deserved, maybe had some thoughts of like, what does it mean to deserve
You're the most annoying person I've ever met in my life.
to debut? Do you know what I mean?
No.
Well, if you don't, I have a recommendation for you.
Do you? You haven't even read it. It's a bummer because she's so, and that's, I mean, it's a bummer that Yuju didn't make it. It's a bummer that
Yuju and Gyuri didn't make it, but it's a bummer that Yuju and Gyuri are like, have accepted it. And so it feels...
That makes Fuko look even crazier.
It feels extra singled out.
I know.
That she's like, am I the only one who feels this
Beauty and
way?
Yuju give speeches where they're like smiling and they're like, thank you so much for this opportunity. And it had
they're
such
emotional.
A great time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like, but
and they get to
gracious.
Fuko and she's like, and I'm genuinely not even trying to make fun of her. It's just, I would be worse. I would be worse. I was worse just watching Sammy not get it. Like, I understand completely, and it broke my heart because she says in her speech, there is no point that I have not wanted this 100%, or something like that. She says she's wanted it so badly. And I've never felt that she doesn't want it.
No.
She is not a person who it's not evident that this is her dream.
She worked hard at every single challenge. Every single part.
Lyrics?
She wrote
to
lyrics.
A song.
She's getting money.
She wrote... Was it Iwali?
Girl, we're streaming Iwali. She's getting her 2 cents.
So she can get her little ducats. Her one ducat.
Get her 5,000 won a month, I'm sure. Her $5 a month.
So that she can, take the train.
So she can take the train. So she can buy flowers at the subway.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Sabi.
And she will understand.
And Sabi will understand because I actually was surprised she didn't give a speech in English.
I know, I thought she was
going to too. I'm so proud of you. You have changed my life. I am obsessed with you.
You can exhale now, Sabi.
You can exhale now, Sabi. And I can exhale now, Adam. Because you made it. And you did so well. Also, she cries as much as I do.
And the full crying of like, and I just want to take everyone.
I know.
It's the most endearing.
I love her. I will accept no slander. If you were to come on here and leave a comment talking about that she was like, even if you were just like, she's just fine, I would block you from this channel. I am so serious. I love her. I love her. I gave birth to her. She is my daughter.
You don't.
I never feel this way.
I was about to say, you don't have like a maternal instinct when it comes to biases.
Even like Eugen, I'll be like, oh, that's my nephew, but really because he actually reminds me of my nephew is really why I say that. I usually do not have this energy.
Was Idao kind of like this?
No. Well,
he was your inner child.
He was me. I saw myself.
He saw myself.
I saw myself at like 11.
Yeah.
It was healing for me.
Yeah.
This is I mean, this is insanity, but this is something else. This is like, I need her to be a star. I need her to wear Chanel. I need her to have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I need her to have
Versace, Gucci.
Like, I'm worried that I feel so strongly about Sabi that I'm going to become like a, how many lines in the song did she have energy? Because like, that's how strong.
How much you love it. But that's too much work for you, girl.
No, that's true. No, I'm not. I'm 32. I'm not doing all that. But I genuinely couldn't be happier.
Well, you look great for giving birth to a 16-year-old.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, that's what happens when you have a teen pregnancy.
Honey. Teen mom.
Bitch. Me and Bristol Palin, honey. The finale was a real fucking roller coaster for me.
Yeah.
I was at my lowest.
But that's the thing with these long ass finales. They really beat you down. So by the time the emotions hit of the results,
It's like it's the experience of like watching something on an airplane where you're like, I'm already 30,000 feet in the air.
I'm kind of loopy, because the
humans shouldn't be this high. You know what I mean? Like already we're playing God.
yes,
My emotions are high.
and then they play you whatever Nora Ephron movie is on, or whatever, the last song or whatever.
Sure.
Nicholas Sparks, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
bawling,
Weeping.
and then you land. I'm like, was that movie good?
Was that movie good? No.
I don't think so.
Not that I'm saying that is how I feel about Sabi, but
Yes.
that's
The
how I felt
height
about
of-
this finale.
Yes, the
where
finale.
I was like,
yeah, because I was like, was that finale good, or was I just super emotional? I was just really vulnerable.
I think it was fun that it was another gag. Like
Right.
from a pure entertainment standpoint, that was great.
and you see so many of these over and over again. Like, what's different? And I do
Right.
like that. I mean, I do like that Iland has producer say. Mm-hmm. Genuinely,
Listen, I think this big surprises are Mai and Sarang.
I agree. I did not expect Sarang at all. And
I mean, the surprise was Sabi, obviously,
Right.
but from a pure standpoint of like having watched the show,
Right.
Sabi was not a surprise that she's
Yeah.
in the group.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a great lineup. I think that's
This is
a really strong
It's a
lineup.
really strong girl group.
Coco, Jiyoon, Jimin, Jungin, Sarang, Sabi, and Mai. I think they're gonna eat. I don't think there's gonna be any fucking crumbs left on the plate. Ooh.
Omega burgers. honey.
I'm interested to see, the variety energy we're gonna be getting.
Yeah, because who are the E's here?
Sabi. Coco.
Coco, period.
Coco is funny on her own.
I mean, Coco
was funny in every episode of the show.
literally part 2 was like the Coco variety hour.
Yes.
Every time they showed her, she's like, huh? Like she
Yes.
just like cracked
And
jokes.
she does this thing when she like yells where she like cracks her voice purposefully,
Yes.
and it's so funny. It's really bad for your voice. Don't
Yeah.
do it, but like it is really funny.
Yeah. But with Coco,
She does that all the time. It's so funny.
she does this. We've already said, like, because there is a language barrier for her, she kind of like plays with it.
Yes.
Right? To
Right.
be like, oh, well, I don't understand, so I can just be goofy and whatever
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get away with it. Kind of like a little bit of like Sock Matthew, like, because I can be culturally whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I can say
You
whatever.
already know I'm culturally not
Yes,
here.
so I can
yeah.
I can get away with something. So yeah, I'm excited to see that come out because I think because of
I
that
think
energy.
Jiyoon is gonna be really funny.
Yes, I mean even here we're
I would not be surprised if in games Jiyoon is like a Jungwon where it's like full
Chaotic,
chaos and like
Bumgyu.
a cheater.
Bumgyu
Yes. Like
could be fun.
the rules do not apply.
Yeah,
That's fun.
she would be talking to the producers like that was a practice round.
Oh,
no, you did-
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, figure out who Jimin is outside of the world of a
Right.
survival show.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about Jungin and also just like kind of watch her grow up because she's 16, like she's gonna become a real person.
Yeah. Totally.
You know what I mean? Like she's gonna find out who she is and like figure out
Yeah.
now that she's done working to get to this thing. It's a 7-year contract. They said in the episode it's a 7-year contract. And for the long haul, girlies. I need there to be a vlog of when she meets Rose. I need to see with
it.
my little peepers.
I need to see it.
because it's gonna be iconic.
Yeah.
She's gonna freak out.
She's-
It's gonna be like when Taeyang met Jungkook.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was saying
Met Jungkook.
it's like when they had Christina Aguilera as a guest judge, and then for the Untucked they had Pheromone come in.
Oh,
and then
yes,
Farrah
yes,
was
yes.
like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
yeah, I am
I'm
too.
really hopeful.
Okay,
I'm really hopeful for these songs.
please.
I just
I
really
need
want
VVN
you
to really be.
I
like-
understand it's produced by Teddy. I get it. I just want there to be other people in the room. I think it's good to have 1,000 cooks in the kitchen. the flavor possibilities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Possibilities.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, quick question before we finish.
Okay.
How would you rank this to all of our survival shows?
Oh.
Boys Planet, Queendom Puzzle, Fantasy Boys, and Audition. Iland 2.
Build up. We've watched 7.
I know.
Shows.
One on Patreon. Peak Time is about to be added too.
Yeah, we're in the middle of peak time right now.
Okay, at the bottom.
At the bottom. At the bottom is Fantasy Boys. So far down on the bottom. Then I would say Queendom Puzzle.
Okay.
Then I would say Boys Planet's my top, obviously.
Okay.
It's these middle ones.
It's the middle ones.
I would say probably after Boys Planet is And Audition.
We might have the same ranking.
And then Build Up. And then Iland 2. And then Iland.
And then Iland.
And then whatever I said. Queendom Puzzle.
Queendom Puzzle, Fantasy Boys.
I think I did end up liking this better than Iland 1.
I think so too.
I think part of it is the COVID of it all. Like
Totally.
I think that hurt them in Iland
and they
1.
learned what makes the Iland format so unique and what they could do with it that doesn't feel like prison.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Just putting pink around.
Yeah.
Actually goes a long way.
A damn mascot.
Just
A woman. Actually, just one woman.
using materials for walls other than concrete.
Yeah.
You know, a long way.
Yeah. They made it all girls, but one girl could have helped, I think, in Iland.
Yeah. A singular drop of estrogen in the room could have done it.
I could potentially see my ranking have Iland 2 higher than Build Up. Only for Build Up not knowing how to land.
I know that was what I was hedging on. Because Build Up started so strong.
So strong.
I know.
That I was literally like, this
know.
might be the greatest survival show.
But I'm going to be honest, guys. If peak time keeps going the way it's going,
she might swoop in there.
She's coming in hot.
She's coming in hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Great.
Well, we did it.
We did it.
And now Adam.
I don't know how we thought we were going to get all these through before we left for KCON.
There's
no way we couldn't have done it. We couldn't have done it.
No.
I would have had to walk out of the concert when they performed. When they were like, here they come.
Or you would have put your AirPods on. Noise canceling. And just like fully be on your phone.
Cocomelon.
And people around you are going to be like, this fucking anti over here.
And I'm like, no, it's for the cause. It's for my 100 views I got on YouTube.
Please,
no,
please.
I can't.
Yeah. We did it.
But now I'm like sad I didn't get to see them too.
I know. I think
they would have sang Iwali.
I know.
They would have sang Iwali. Girls, it's Iwali. I don't know what to tell you.
It's Iwali. Iwali is Song of the Year. Give Fuko her coins.
Discovering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.